Good afternoon. My name's Tom, and this is the promised Trump video at the end of the week. I've decided if I'm going to discuss Trump, I'm only going to do it once a week because anything related to politics in general tends to get negative. And, when people say things like the energy you put into the world, that's the energy the world gives back to you. That's not entirely inaccurate. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, if you constantly focus on negativity, you constantly put out negativity, negativity tends to come your way. It finds you. So we're not going to go too crazy on Trump. Once a week is plenty. But that means we should talk about more than just the New York trial that's happening, because there's been a few things of note. So to start with the trial, the Donald. Okay, so opening testimony, first couple of witnesses, generally perceived as not going well for the president. It's pretty damaging, but we kind of expected that. And their testimony seems to corroborate the evidence, or the evidence seems to corroborate the testimony. It's not going well. Let's see. Is there any real news there? No. We already knew what this was. Uh, he does what he always does. Same thing he did with his charity. He used it like a piggy bank, spent it on things he wasn't allowed to spend it on. And this time it's campaign finance. And, whether you don't care or not is irrelevant. Whether you do care, that's also irrelevant. This is in the court now. And what matters is the debate between the attorneys, the moderation provided by the judge, and the final decision by the jury. All right, next part. The contempt of court hearing. All right, they're looking for the prosecution's looking for like $1,000 penalty per incident, which is chump change. It's nothing. I mean, it's like the maximum allowed, but this was not designed with rich people in mind. It's one of those things where it's like if you're rich, your money sometimes may seem to you like a sort of permit or a license to do things other people can't. And that's what you have here. I think Trump's going to continue to push boundaries. What's different about these contempt hearings versus the civil trial ones is as these increase over time, because, there's a maximum for first offense, it goes up. In criminal trial, it can also include lockup. I don't think Trump would do well there. I also don't know exactly how that would work, because the Secret Service has to provide protection. You can't really put him anywhere near a criminal population that's being housed. It's just, they'll probably have to come up with some sort of accommodation if it gets to that point where, he's confined. And I guess, like, marshals will keep him in and Secret Service will keep other people out, that kind of deal. So, we'll see what happens, but the first round's probably only going to be fines. I also expect the judge is going to treat this with kid gloves. Treat him with kid gloves the same way Judge Engoron did. Sorry about the ventilation kicking on. It's a little bit loud. So, and I know what the news said about Judge Engoron, but when it came to penalties for, contempt, he went easy on Trump. And the reason judges will do that, especially when somebody can afford, a team of lawyers or multiple teams of lawyers, is because that undercuts the notion that there was bias. Because, the defendant could say, well, the judge was biased against me. And then the judge can say, no, I didn't. Look at his behavior and look how I treated him. You know, the guy showed open contempt, and I still went easy on him. There is no bias. That's how you undercut that future appeal when you know it's coming. Uh, okay, so we covered the trial, we covered the contempt hearing. Let's talk about the Supreme Court now. So the Supreme Court, uh, had its questioning regarding Team Trump's claim of absolute immunity. And both pro-Trump and anti-Trump people are claiming victory over this. This is Gabriel. He's orange. So, the thing about, yes, I know, you hate this. The thing about the Supreme Court hearings and why both sides are declaring victory. Okay, so it appears, based on the way questioning went, absolute immunity has been put down. That's not going to happen. However, also based on questioning, the speculation is that the Supreme Court is going to not just simply rule this isn't a thing, they're going to likely come up with a more complex response, probably carve out differences between private acts and public ones or presidential ones, and determine where immunity attaches and doesn't on a more thorough scale than just saying, yeah, this is not a valid defense. So that's going to take a while, and if you are of the opinion that Trump would absolutely lose the trial because, he did the things he did, because his defense is, it's not a crime when I do it, because that works out really well as a defense, then his only hope would be to try to delay the trial because he's going to get convicted because he really is the bad guy. And if he delays it and then he somehow wins the election, he could try to pardon himself. It's worth noting that presidents can't pardon themselves from criminal liability. Just ask Richard Nixon. Let's see, no, probably not last. Let's see, E.Jean Carroll. Team Trump has lost a couple of times to her in court. They lost to her, then Trump did what he was found liable of doing a second time and lost even bigger because, hey, he was using money as his license to do things other people can't. And then it got way more expensive, and he's like, wait, I don't want to pay for that license. He tried to appeal. The appeal was shot, or he tried to, he requested a retrial, and that idea was shot. He's going to appeal the decision. I think the judge's decision was his arguments were totally without merit. He thinks maybe someone else out there who's smart enough to earn judge's robes will disagree with that statement. Alright, so we did the New York case. We did the contempt hearing in the New York case. We did E.Jean Carroll. We did the Supreme Court. Arizona. There's been a whole lot of people indicted. Not all of them have been notified yet for election interference, election fraud, basically, fake electors, that whole thing. And it's worth noting that in the Georgia RICO case, one of the plea agreements, I believe it was Kenneth Chesebro. We're calling him Chesebro. Required him to cooperate with all law enforcement investigations and be completely honest with them, not just Georgia. And he ended up making a tour of a whole bunch of states that had fake elector fraud issues. And that's kind of led people to evidence and lines of inquiry, and you can expect more and more investigations based on that. And it's just been a really crappy week for Trump. like I said, if you go down this rabbit hole of negativity every day, several times a day, well, you're probably not going to be a very happy person. So it's important to tune out. Turn it off. Just get a weekly dose of it. All right? Like, share, subscribe, comment, and have a good day.